Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Maneaters series. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with...
Paul A Presenza, otherwise known as the Moo Cow. Moo.
And this is Paul's first time on this show, and probably won't be the last. We'll bring him on next season. But I figured he's really into Yeti movies. He's never seen this, nor have I. So we decided we're going to watch Yeti. And...
2007 SyFy.
Yeah, it was, or 2008, I thought you said?
2008.
2008. It was terrible. It was god awful. So basically the storyline is a bunch of football players and maybe cheerleaders. No, actually, I guess the other team, like, they have parts of the team that do stuff like that. We've got the team manager chick. We've got the chick who does
Trainer.
The trainer, which is the Asian girl. And I don't know if the other girl did.
Elfina.
Yeah, I don't know what Ashley did, but...
Sit around and look cute? I don't know.
Yeah, so all of them have some kind of thing that they're doing with the boys, all the quarterback and all these other
jocks.
People, the jocks. And they're going to Japan. So on their way to Japan, they break down in the Himalayas, which is so funny because in the beginning of the movie, when they're on the plane... Before the plane even started to crash, the guy said, "Oh, we're flying over the Himalayas."
And why are they doing that? If they're flying to Japan, why don't they fly from Los Angeles and just cross the ocean to Japan? Why do they have to go all the way around the other side of the planet and go over the Himalayas? Because the plot demands that they fly over the Himalayas. That's why.
Right, because obviously they need to crash.
In the Himalayas.
And they had to have a reason. Like you were saying, they could be going to China or another place or something, but they... said Japan, and it just kind of didn't make any sense.
Because, of course, Yeti means Himalayas. And let me tell you about the Himalayas here. Boy, they don't look anything like the Himalayas.
No, not at all. They were there's a lot of trees.
Yeah, deciduous trees everywhere. Like in the Himalayas. No, wrong.
Well, yeah, and that was the first thing you noticed when other than the snow
and the fake snow,
and stuff. But
I mean, there was probably some real snow too, but there was a lot of fake snow, which is again a step above some of the movies we've seen where they didn't even bother to do that.
Blood Predator, we're looking at you. So, I mean, I honestly, it's a terrible movie. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat this movie and say. We laughed a lot through it. It was laughable, which is not good. Sci-fi, like I can see how this is a made for sci-fi movie.
Sure. And
everything, like it felt very sci-fi.
Their tagline should be sci-fi. We just don't care.
Yeah, like, or at least back then they really didn't care.
Sure.
Right now, they don't even really do anything. Like all I see is like WWF stuff on SyFy Channel. Really, barely ever any. Cool, like
is there a Yeti wrestler?
That would be
cool.
Stro, you should get somebody
there
to do
that. There you go. Get the 3-fingered Yeti move.
The 3-fingered Yeti move. I mean, he was a sort of a wrestler. He
was like a super Yeti. He was leaping all over the place. Well, his CGI double was leaping all over the place. His shitty looking CGI double looked really bad.
Oh, he was like hopping. From one place to the other, which was so weird because when it like first happens, it's so jarring because he hadn't been doing that at all.
And it looks so fake.
But like he hadn't been doing that at all. So when he's running, very fast or whatever, it looks ridiculous.
And I hate to say it, but in my head, every time he jumps, there's a voice in the back of my head from Double the Avenger going, "Booby bounce."
No. It was weird and. I honestly...
Excuse me.
Bless you. So the main character...
Sorry, pollen.
Are you sure you don't have the vid?
There you go.
Alright. Anyway, so let's get into actors real quick. I was going to talk about Carly Pope, who played Sarah. I thought she did a great job for what she was given. I always like her. I've liked her in a lot of films and stuff. And then Mark Menard... played Peyton Elway.
Peyton Elway, please.
That was the worst name. Come on, seriously. You had to pick two football players, so you put Peyton Manning and John Elway together into one name.
And of course, they're quarterbacks, and he's the quarterback.
Which really also annoyed me because he's the only one credited, other than the coach, with the last name or whatever. So, like, and you never hear his last name.
And they're all too old for college.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these are like 30-something-year-olds playing 20-something-year-olds, supposedly. Or maybe there's just a geriatric football team. I don't know.
Maybe.
But then there's Adam O'Brien played Raven, who is
Raven
like
with an eye.
With an eye. Who's sort of like the character that's just like he's not the villain. Obviously, the villain is the Yetis, but he's the opposition.
He's the foil to Peyton Elway.
Yeah, he's the one who's supposed to always be headbutting with them.
And there's quite a lot of that because that's what you do when you don't have much else to write about. You create conflict and you just keep going and going and going and going.
Elfina Luke played Kira.
I liked her.
She was the, I guess, she was the, you said the
Asian trainer girl.
Trainer girl, yeah. And she was wonderful. I loved her.
Feathered hair.
And then Brandon J. McLaurin played Rice. I swear to God, they kept calling him Bryce. That's what I kept hearing.
Dreadlock
but
dude.
It's like Rice. And he was, he was good. I liked him.
And he was the black guy who survived. Woohoo!
Oh, spoilers. Yes. Spoilers ahead. We forgot to mention that.
Chubbs, no.
Chubbs did not survive, which was such a bummer because I liked him. But I don't like. He was way too old. That dude was like in his 40s or 50s.
Well,
to me, I don't know.
He was old. He was older than he should have been. So
I'm losing that thing. So then there's Crystal Lowe, who we mentioned earlier, played Ashley.
Incorrectly spelled in the beginning of the credits.
Yeah, it was like CHRYSTAL or something. And I was like, that's not how you spell it. And so, like, I don't even know how they could, like, mess that up like that, but they did. And then, was it Christian Tesler played Dennis. I guess he was, like, the geeky guy that kind of always had, like, the funny one-liners and shit, and stuff. Then there's...
Funny.
Yeah, then there's Chris Pope played Garcia, who was, like... and I'm guessing he's related to Carly Pope, or they just happen to have the same...
And he's the guy that gets shot in the face, in the eye no less, with the flare gun, but he survives okay at the end just to get eaten by the other guy, the other Yeti.
No, because only his hand comes out. We don't know what ever happened to him.
I'm sure we can assume, though.
Yeah, well, he was like, oh,
You
crap.
gotta be kidding.
You gotta be kidding me. And then there's...
He ran down the mountain with 2 broken legs with a radio tied to one broken leg and the other guy's severed arm, tied to the other broken leg. It was so ridiculous.
And then there's Taras how do you say
Kostyuk. Taras Kostyuk played the Yeti.
And I'm guessing he's just a tall guy that they got to play the Yeti.
And there were several Yetis, too. So.
Yeah, so there's 2 Yetis, at least, that we know of.
Yeti 1 and Yeti 2.
And that was that's a revelation that's shared later. And then there's Peter DeLuise plays Shepard.
I don't remember who Shepard was.
I think Shepard. No, Shepard was the guy who comes in with Fury.
Oh, that's right.
He's supposed to help them out.
The bearded guy.
Yeah, and then Ed. God
Marinaro.
Dang, yeah, you're gonna have to say these names. Played Coach
Gorfida.
Gorfida.
Yeah, his job was to look solemn and be the adult. And die.
Then Ona
Grauer played Fury, the Russian chick.
And your favorite character?
Chubbs, played by Viv Leacock.
And what is it? Andrews, I'm guessing was just one of the random... Andrews and Jackson. There's 2 Jacksons.
There's 2 Jacksons there.
Played by 2 different guys. I'm guessing after a while they're just like, fuck it, just name him Jackson.
Sure.
It's like nobody knew these people's names or whatever.
Didn't matter.
They were just dead from the very beginning, pretty much. Aaron Pearl played Tillman, and Paul Jarrett played Captain Washburn.
And it's so nice and refreshing to see a movie where a plane crash happens and 2/3 of the people survive instead of being pureed into bits and pieces, like in real life.
Well, I mean, of course you gotta have you have to have people survive these plane crashes and shit. Just like in Lost, and other things like that. I mean, most people are actually going to be dead, or whatever.
All
but,
of them, which is typically the case.
But whatever. But with that show, they had really, it all worked out, the way it's...
Oh, you don't think it all worked out here?
No.
It all made sense at the end.
Yeah, they were all... I mean, that's the thing with this movie, too, is like, none of it made any sense a lot of times.
They killed a bunny!
Yeah, I wanted that bunny to live.
We all did.
I wanted that bunny to live.
Well,
but
you don't actually see the bunny get killed. I mean, there was a bunny wrangler, so the bunny knew how to get away. But you did see like a bit of cloth or a bit of fur.
Yeah, and then you see like the chicken being cooked.
Yeah.
It looked very much like a chicken that they were cooking and eating. And then later on, they had to eat the humans or whatever.
So they had these little pink squares.
Yeah, it was just terrible. Like, just whatever they were eating, literally everything looked like chicken. Like, they couldn't like make anything look different,
It's just far-fetched and ridiculous and cheap and awful.
Exactly.
So fairly typical sci-fi bit. A little more fun, a little more funny.
Yep.
Just you have to laugh at some of the things. The Yeti bounce is just ridiculous. It looked awful.
I mean, this is not something I'd probably ever watch again.
Oh, I might inflict it on someone else just to make them groan and moan.
Gary would like this.
Yeah.
How bad it is.
Or maybe even just Jen.
This is actually not a bad movie to show just Jen.
Yeah.
Nothing too terrible, and actually, to be honest, I like this movie, or I liked Suburban Sasquatch more than this movie.
Oh yeah, Suburban Sasquatch.
But it's a different kind of thing, where this is more of a like mainstream-ish kind of movie compared to what we normally watch. This is SyFy Channel. They're a step above,
They think they're a step above.
I mean, they're still pretty bad, but they're like, come on, this is definitely a step above Blood Predator.
Oh yeah, that's the one that failed to get to Sci-Fi.
Yeah, it was a SyFy Channel reject. But yeah, this is definitely something that...
But it's still bad.
It is. It's terrible. At least they had real snow.
They did have snow. Well, they had a combination of real snow and fake snow, but there was snow. You could actually see snow.
Yeah, it wasn't like, yeah.
Couldn't see
Except in the trees.
You couldn't see their breath because it wasn't really that cold, and everybody's talking about how freezing it is, and yet nobody's wearing their hats or their hoods.
Yeah, and then on top of that, the worst part that we were like, this is a terrible continuity issue, was that they were in a plane, and the Yeti is trying to push them off a cliff. There was no cliff there.
Yeah, suddenly there's a cliff.
There's a cliff there. Like, it's ridiculous.
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, well. And then on top of that, that whole scene was absolutely the worst scene in the whole movie. Because you see the two people that are the rescue squad are seeing this happening. Like,
yeah, they were right there
the whole time. They were right there the whole time. And they never came up and said anything to them. Right? Which was great because... I mean, they would have got shot by the guy with the flare gun.
And yet again, we have another movie where people have weapons. They have guns, and they don't use them. When they go to get the chick out of the cave because she's been captured for some Yeti lovin's, as you would. They have guns. Do they fire them? No, of course not. God, why would they do that?
Why would they waste their time firing guns at, whatever.
Monsters. Why would you do that?
Yeah, why shoot something, like when you have a gun.
Ridiculous.
But you know what? It's silly. The whole movie is just... I mean, that drives me nuts. Okay, if you're going to write a sci-fi movie or horror film or whatever, and you're going to have guns in the movie, fucking fire them. Don't just waste, stay there, like, pointing the guns. No, fire the fucking guns. I don't get it. Like, it's gotta be just a thing where they think, like, it's causing tension of not shooting
or
it or
least,
something.
At least, make some common sense stuff. Like, I mean, the whole reason the plane goes down is because in this horrible storm, well, planes can fly above the storm. That's generally what they do. Why didn't they just do that?
Because then there would be no movie.
Yes, exactly.
You know, that's
Because
literally
the script demands it.
right.
That's why.
Because that's why.
Which is terrible.
And then the whole time they're not calling for help or saying, "Hey, we're going
Mayday,
down,
Mayday,
Mayday, Mayday, we're going down." So like,
And when they do crash, is there a giant rescue party to come find them? No, there's 2 people. That's it.
Because the budget demanded
Right,
it.
because the helicopter, it's too high for the helicopters. No, it's not. And by the way, there are fucking deciduous trees there. So clearly, there's no problem with the oxygen there. I mean, you should be able to fly a helicopter with no problem.
Yeah.
And British Columbia in Canada, definitely not the Himalayas at all. Not even close. They're just bumps. You look at the Himalayas, the mountains there, they are fracking mountains. Those are like 40,000 feet high.
The Yeti costume was okay. I mean, it obviously looked like a mask on them, but when you look at like Dark Wolf that had the mask, you could see obviously somebody's eyes behind it. There, they did a good job covering that up so it looked like it was just the actual Yeti's eyes, which I thought was pretty damn good comparison.
I guess he didn't look particularly big or strong for a Yeti. I mean, I don't know. The guy tackled him. That was easy enough. And yet again, there was another thing where the cliff appeared out of nowhere because there was no cliff when he tackled him, and all of a sudden they're both hanging off a cliff. And it's great because the way they shot one of it, it's like there's the Yeti hanging off the thing, but you could tell the camera guy's right behind him, so he's just standing there pretending.
Yeah, there's obviously it's not too far down. And then you pointed out that some of it actually looks like a CGI background.
That was the reverse shot.
The reverse shot looked like there was CGI background, which made it look like there was a lot of whatever. But then you look at the other shots, and it obviously looks like they're literally maybe 10 feet up above the ground, which if he had fell, he wouldn't get hurt.
Oh, I don't even think they were 10 feet. It was more like 3 feet.
Yeah. I mean, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt that was a little longer, but
bad.
It was terrible.
Bad sci-fi, no donut.
Yeah, so sorry, SyFy. We did not think you guys did a great job with this one. I've seen other movies where at least it's a little bit more enjoyable when it comes to that stuff. This movie, the bickering was annoying. So them like arguing the whole time about you're not the leader, and that's the thing that drives me nuts. I try when I put in my movies, I try not to put that in there because that just becomes this like trope. It's like this cliche of like who put you in charge, right? And stuff like that. And the truth is, there is like somebody has to be the leader.
It's kind of like that scene in in Creeping Terror where instead of just fleeing the room, they get into a fight over who's going to be first to leave the room, and then they all end up getting killed.
Right.
Because they couldn't just fucking leave the room.
I mean, makes no sense, like. But then again, it makes sense for them to argue, and then somebody becomes a leader, and then whatever.
So you've been watching. How many Maneaters is this for you?
I think this is the 7th.
7th. So how does this one rank compared to the other 6?
I don't know. Some are just sort of boring-ish, kind of stuff. I mean, they haven't been terrible. They've been sort of fun. Even this one's fun enough. Like I said, I might not watch this again, especially not by myself. But like Vipers, we watched. Michi and I watched Vipers. We actually. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was fun, and it was enjoyable. It's something I could watch more than once.
I could watch this one more than once. It was terrible, but it was kind of fun at the same time because it was. I mean, you just had to laugh at some of this stuff.
Well, you can watch it by yourself, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think initially I was expecting this to be more boring than it was, but it turned out it was actually kind of fun to watch because it's so stupid.
There you go, SyFy. There's your
well
quote.
Done. Well
done. There's the
done.
quote for the back of the DVD. If you ever re-release it, Paul was on. It was terrible,
it was
but
so much fun, but it was stupid.
Yeah, it was so much fun, but it was stupid. Oh my goodness, it was not good. But like we said, it had some enjoyable moments that were just. I mean, if you can get past the idea that like, obviously these characters are not in the Himalayas. They're in Canada. They're in was it Ottawa or Vancouver?
British Columbia.
Like yeah, they're in British Columbia. They are obviously in the which that does make sense because Grizzly Rage was filmed there. I'm guaranteeing you most of them
Sure,
are
it's
the
cheaper
offices.
to film there.
Offices were probably there, so
I fully expected to see one of the Yetis standing just off camera on break with a Tim Hortons cup.
Yeti getting coffee. There you go.
There you go.
That sounds like a great.
But there is entertainment value here as long as you understand what it is you're getting into. And as a sci-fi movie, you pretty much should already know what to expect.
Yeah, you should already be ready. You should be ready.
You should be a ready Yeti for this ready Yeti stinker.
It's pretty terrible, but I enjoyed it. I mean, enough where I would. If somebody else wanted to watch it, I would watch it. I just wouldn't watch it by myself. Like I'd watch Vipers by myself. I'd watch Sea Beast by myself.
Oh,
I'd watch a lot of these stinkers by myself.
This one was probably IFC worthy.
He wants to potentially do this on another,
Yeah,
another
maybe a Patreon only. Maybe if we get, Lenore or
Just
Jen or somebody else to suffer through it, that might be fun.
Yeah, I mean it would be a fun little thing to do, but I don't think I'd want it as like an actual Indie Film Cafe episode for me.
Well, now that we've done it, yeah.
We did it for this, so and we're not rating it or anything on these.
Oh,
so.
We should.
Yeah.
I know what I'd give it.
What would you give it?
I'd probably give this a 9.
A 9?
Yeah, this is pretty bad.
I'd actually give it a 7.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I out of 10 for stinkometer, because I just don't think it's that. I don't think it's terrible enough to be like a 9. Like I think that there was a lot of continuity and other issues that they could have worked out and like as you said. When the Yeti was doing his superpower of his super jumps, why wasn't he causing avalanches and stuff? I mean, there's things like that just, I mean, some of it didn't make any sense why some of this happened and some of it didn't happen. It had issues, with the movie. But it wasn't like Blood Predator worthy of like,
no, it wasn't
like bad stuff. So I wouldn't rate it a 9. I'd rate it a 7. But
Yeti,
it's not a 5 or anything or less.
You were better than Blood Predator.
Definitely better than Blood Predator. I think Blood Predator was a 9.
9.5 or a 10, I think. Yeah.
I don't think it was 10. Maybe you gave it a 10.
I think I gave it a 10. I think everybody else gave it a 9.5.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was bad. It was
so
really bad.
This is better than that, and it was definitely enjoyable to the point where. We're rooting for the Yeti to just kill everybody.
Please, stop them from bickering.
Yeah, just come over here and just kill everybody. They're all yelling at each other very loud outside where the Yeti could be like, oh, I hear something. I hear people. Let me go murder them.
I wish the bunny had killed them. That would have been fun. The Yeti bunny.
The Yeti bunny. There you go. There's a movie for you.
There you go. Sci-fi. Call me.
Yeah. Well, we'll make the Yeti bunny for you.
We'll make better movies for you guys. That's for damn sure. They won't be quite as stinky.
Well, I mean, maybe that's what they like. I mean, obviously they made a bunch of them like this. What really kind of disappointed me is the executive producer is Mark L. Lester, who is very much known for a ton of like 80s action movies like Commando and things like that I love Commando. I think it's a fun movie.
It's not bad.
It's enjoyable.
That had a budget. I don't know that this movie necessarily had a budget.
That's true. This movie probably, I would say probably less than $100K.
Yeah.
For this budget, and I think most of the money went into the plane crash scene, stuff like that, like all that. But it didn't go into the plane. The plane was fucking tiny, and you could tell it was not a real plane or whatever. It was set.
I love how the people who are dead, you can tell they're dead because they have a little bit of blood near their nose, and that's pretty much it. Like, okay, not bad.
I love the guy. I love when the guy walks in and like touches the guy. Is like, okay, he's
Are you
dead.
dead? Are you okay?
Yeah. Oh, he shakes him. Yeah,
right.
He shakes that one guy. He's like, ah. The guy's, and the girl looks like, I don't think that's a good idea.
No.
I'm like, listen to the trainer.
Right.
She's telling you, don't shake this guy. And of course, he shakes him, and then eventually, the guy dies. and he had frostbite on. Like you were wondering why he had.
Already.
Yeah, and everybody else didn't. Like nobody else, not even the other guy.
He had the benefit of being protection from the fuselage too.
Yeah. So it was ridiculous.
Yeah, continuity issue. There were a bunch of continuity issues. It was just ridiculous.
Which is terrible for this kind of movie because SyFy should be like having a continuity person.
I love when the one guy goes back and finds the radio receiver and he figures it out and he starts talking into the part and then he's like listening to it. I'm like, dude, that's not a speaker. It's not attached to anything either. How does he think it's gonna? What do you think it's gonna?
How did we hear that? Like, how did we hear the?
Right. From what? What was it coming from?
Yeah.
It was just a radio floating around by itself.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was like whoever wrote this. I forgot who wrote it, but whoever wrote it thought about it and thought, oh man, it would be great to have like them be able to find the radio and everything. But he's never seen a radio. Or none of them did, and they just kind of...
Or they just figured nobody's going to care or pay attention, which is not true. Not true.
Yeah, so SyFy, if you bring back the Maneaters stuff, which I very hope you do, this is why I do these, because I want to bring awareness to the Maneater series. But if you do another Maneater movie, make it good.
Yeah.
Like, at least put some real thought and effort into things. I feel like he said, I feel like the movie's just kind of just they go along. They're like, nobody will care.
Right.
Nobody will catch that. No, people do. They watch the movies and they get together and they go, that doesn't make any sense. Why is there a cliff there all of a sudden?
Right.
Why is there a cliff there in this other scene all of a sudden? Like, where are these cliffs? Do these cliffs just like, are they just, is this like the Bermuda Triangle? Do things just randomly appear?
The Himalayan cliffs that pop up out of nowhere.
Right? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the avalanche and like, oh, and you were saying the one girl who got captured by the Yeti, the bride of the Yeti.
Bride of the Yeti.
Running, and then she jumps over the part where everybody else, like, she didn't know that was there.
Right.
Like, how did... all these things, like, just...
Oh, that could have turned into a whole different movie if the two Yetis had had some fun with our Bride of the Yeti.
I mean, that's a sexploitation these guys.
Yes!
Project for you.
That would have been awesome.
But not for SyFy. SyFy, I mean, they didn't even have any cursing in this movie.
I know.
Even, like, you notice, like, when he was supposed to say, I guess, like, son of a bitch or something.
Damn it, or something like that. They definitely overdubbed.
They overdubbed it with, like, come and get some or something like that. And I was like, because I didn't notice the thing, but you did. And I was just like, okay. I guess they overdubbed, like, bad language, because they don't even want that in the movie, which makes no sense for college kids to not be cursing up a storm.
Sure.
Especially there's like jocks who, treat everybody like crap, supposedly. This definitely would have been a different movie made today with the Me Too situations and stuff.
Mm. Oh yeah, that Yeti was definitely sexually harassing Carly Pope there. And I hope she files suit. Me too, Yeti. Me too.
I know. Carly Pope too.
There you go.
She was not, she was not happy. It was not that he was having her against her will.
There was no consent given.
Mm-mm. And she was trying to leave too, and that arm of his was just getting.
Oh yeah, he was grabbing all over.
Oh man, he was touching her
3 fingers,
boobs, and everything. Man, I was like, that guy's that freaking Yeti's copping a feel.
She should have smacked him.
I know. Well, that would have woke him up. She was trying not to wake him up, which it was funny. She got away from him, and then instead of shooting the damn Yeti, the radio goes off, and that's what wakes the fucking Yeti up.
At which point you could have shot them, but the guy's like, run!
Yeah.
Instead of fire.
Fire! Shoot the stupid thing. I don't know.
Ridiculous.
I don't know. And how did they know there was 2 of them? Like, they were waiting for that one. Once they saw that one, how did they,
Why do you even need to?
Oh yeah, why did they even have to? Because it's not like both of them came after
I mean,
people.
really? There's enough food to feed one gigantic supposed monster in the Himalayas? Now you're going to tell me that there's two? Yeah, no. Sorry. No.
Big giant apes is what they kept calling it. Like giant apes, or whatever.
I like the one guy's like, that's for damn sure not a bear. Oh, okay, so you're an expert on bears, huh?
I mean, it looked like a Yeti to me. Except, I've talked about this with Paul. Paul disagrees with me. I see all the Yetis in pop culture as fat. Like, that's the significant difference between the Yeti, the Sasquatch.
Fat shaming Yeti.
But hold on. Sasquatches are tall and thin, and Yetis are big and, bulky. That's how, and white. So there's the brown and the white creatures. And so this one was skinny like a Sasquatch. It looked very much like a white Sasquatch. And it just drives me nuts.
Why did it have 3 toes?
Why was it a big foot, but you see the foot and it's not big? Like it's like it was supposed to be, because they see the markings in the snow and it's like this big foot.
It's one of those generalizations that's not true. Every time you see a Yeti, they expect it to have a huge foot, and in real life, most Yetis have just regular feet, and they're upset if you start assuming that they all have big giant feet.
Well, you know what they say about Yetis with giant feet.
I know. It's like, stop fetishizing Yetis.
Oh Lord, this just keeps turning into a different podcast altogether. Anywho, I honestly enjoyed the movie enough where, yeah, like if Paul wanted to watch it again and something or whatever, I would do it. I just, in my collection, I probably wouldn't be like, what am I going to watch today? Oh, let me watch a Yeti.
I'll happily inflict this on someone else.
Yeti.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, if it were a group of people that had never seen this movie before, maybe.
Trust me, we could do a whole podcast of doing nothing but Yeti and Sasquatch movies. It'd be amazing.
I know you want to do that eventually.
I would love to do that at some point.
Maybe in 2022. Next year.
You never know. Only if we're ready, Yetis.
All right. On that note, thank you guys so much for watching this. Hope you enjoyed it. Tune in on the 15th. Will be the next one. I can't tell you what it is yet, but I hope you enjoy it, and come check it out. Until then,
the next film.
Exactly. Bye.
Bye.
Let me see if that's...
Is it recording?
Yeah, it's recording, but I'm gonna... Okay. Does that look good to you? Straight and everything? Alright.